You are living inside a prison right now, and the terrifying part is that you cannot see its walls. No chains bind you, no guards watch you. Yet every fear, regret, and restless thought tightens the bars around your life. Long ago, a wandering monk uncovered a truth so disturbing it shattered everything he believed about himself. What he discovered changes everything. Thousands of years ago, in a valley hidden between mist-covered mountains, there stood an ancient monastery. The monastery was simple. No golden statues, no magnificent halls, no signs of wealth or power. Only stone pathways, weathered wooden buildings, and the endless whisper of pine trees dancing with the wind. People traveled from distant lands to seek wisdom there. Kings came, merchants came, warriors came. Yet among all those visitors, one young man arrived carrying a burden heavier than any of them. His name was Aaron. He was not poor. He was not starving. He was not hunted by enemies. His suffering came from something far more invisible, his own mind. Every morning he woke with anxiety. Every night he slept with regret. When good things happened, he feared losing them. When bad things happened, he feared they would never end. His thoughts chased one another like wild animals running through a forest fire. No peace, no stillness, no rest. After years of suffering, Aaron climbed the mountain to meet the monastery's old master. The master was known throughout the region. Some called him enlightened. Others called him mad. The stories contradicted each other so often that nobody knew which was true. When Aaron finally found him, the old man was sitting beneath a giant cedar tree, watching clouds drift across the sky. Nothing more. Aaron bowed. "Master," he said, "my mind tortures me. I cannot control it. Please teach me how to find peace." The old master studied him carefully. Then he smiled. Not the smile of someone who had found an answer. The smile of someone who had found a question. "Return tomorrow before sunrise," the master said, "and bring your mind with you." Aaron frowned. "Bring my mind? What kind of answer was that?" But he said nothing. The next morning, before dawn painted the horizon with light, Aaron returned. The old master sat in exactly the same place. The same tree, the same silence, the same calm. "Did you bring your mind?" asked the master. "Of course." "Good." The master nodded. "Then show it to me." Aaron blinked. "What?" "Show me your mind." "I can't." "Why not?" "Because it isn't something I can hold." The master smiled again. "Interesting." Aaron felt irritation rising. The old man seemed to be playing games, yet something in his eyes suggested otherwise. The master stood and pointed toward the forest. "Walk with me." Together they entered the trees. The deeper they traveled, the quieter the world became. Birdsong faded, wind softened, even their footsteps seemed swallowed by the earth itself. After hours of walking, they reached a small lake hidden within the forest. The water was perfectly still, like polished glass. The master pointed toward its surface. "What do you see?" "My reflection." The master picked up a stone and threw it into the lake. Ripples spread in every direction. The reflection shattered instantly. And now? Only distorted shapes. The master nodded. "The lake is your mind." Aaron waited for more, but the old man simply stood there, silent, watching the ripples. Minutes passed. Eventually the water became calm again. The reflection returned, clear, undisturbed. Then the master asked a question. "Did the lake create the disturbance?" "No." "The stone did?" "Yes." The master looked directly into Arun's eyes. "Then why do you blame the lake?" Something shifted inside him, but before he could answer, the master turned and began walking again. The lesson felt incomplete, like a door opened only halfway. Days became weeks. Weeks became months. Aaron remained at the monastery. Every day he expected profound teachings, secret wisdom, hidden knowledge. Instead, the master gave him strange tasks: carry water, sweep leaves, clean floors, watch the sunrise, observe falling rain, sit silently beside rivers. At first Arun grew frustrated. He had come seeking enlightenment, not chores. Yet something unusual began happening. Little by little he started noticing things he had ignored his entire life. The sound of wind moving through bamboo, the rhythm of his own breathing, the warmth of sunlight against cold skin, the way thoughts appeared and disappeared without permission. One evening, while sweeping fallen leaves, a troubling realization struck him. He wasn't controlling his thoughts at all. Thoughts simply arrived, one after another, like clouds drifting through the sky. A memory appeared, then vanished. A fear appeared, then vanished. A desire appeared, then vanished. If he wasn't creating them, then who was? The question haunted him. Days later he approached the master again. "If thoughts come by themselves," Aaron asked, "how can I control my mind?" The old master led him to a mountain path, high above the valley, far from the monastery. There they found an abandoned cart beside a cliff. Its wooden wheels were broken, its frame cracked. The master pointed toward it. What happened? It crashed. Why? The driver lost control. The master nodded. Then he pointed toward Arun's chest. Most people spend their lives sitting inside a cart driven by fear, anger, desire, and habit. The wind howled around them, but they never realize they are passengers. Arun felt chills because deep inside he knew it was true. Every major decision in his life had been influenced by emotions he barely understood. Fear had spoken, anger had spoken, pride had spoken, and he had mistaken their voices for his own. The realization unsettled him. Yet an even greater mystery remained. If those voices weren't truly him, then who was he? Months passed. Winter arrived. Snow covered the mountains. The monastery became silent beneath white blankets of frost. One night a violent storm swept across the valley. Thunder shook the earth. Lightning split the sky. The monks gathered indoors. But Aaron noticed something strange. The old master sat outside, alone, exposed to the storm, perfectly still. Rain soaked his robes. Wind battered his body. Yet he remained unmoving, as though the storm belonged to another world. Unable to contain his curiosity, Aaron rushed outside. "Master!" The old man opened his eyes. "Yes?" "How can you sit here peacefully while all this chaos surrounds you?" The master looked toward the storm, then toward Aaron. Finally he spoke. "The storm is not the problem." Another cryptic answer. Aaron waited. "The problem," said the master softly, "is becoming the storm." Lightning illuminated the mountains, and for a brief moment everything became clear. Most people do not suffer because fear appears. They suffer because they become fear. They do not suffer because anger appears. They suffer because they become anger. They do not suffer because sadness visits. They suffer because they build a home for it. The storm outside was temporary. The storm inside was the true danger. Years passed. Aaron's understanding deepened. Yet one final lesson awaited him. One lesson that would transform everything. One morning, the master summoned him before sunrise. The old man looked older now, fragile, like a candle nearing the end of its flame. Without explanation, he handed Aaron a small mirror. "Take this to the mountain summit." Nothing more. No instructions. No clues. Just a mirror. A run climbed for hours. Steep cliffs. Cold winds. Dangerous paths. At last he reached the summit. There he found only silence. Sky above. Clouds below. Endless emptiness. Confused, he examined the mirror. His reflection stared back. Tired, older, wiser, but still uncertain. Then something unexpected happened. A powerful gust of wind slipped from the mountains and tore the mirror from his hands. It shattered against the rocks below. Aaron stood frozen. The master's task had failed. The mirror was gone. His journey wasted. Defeated, he returned to the monastery. Yet when he arrived, the old master smiled. As expected. Aaron stared. "You knew it would break?" The master nodded. "Of course." "Then why send me?" The old man's eyes sparkled. "Tell me, when the mirror shattered, did you disappear?" The question struck like thunder. "No." "Then why spend your life believing every reflection your mind creates?" Silence. Deep, absolute, transformative silence. In that moment, Aaron understood. The fears were reflections. The worries were reflections. The judgments were reflections. The stories were reflections. Even the image he carried of himself was a reflection. not reality, just passing images appearing within awareness. The mirror had never been the truth. The one looking into it was, and suddenly the prison doors opened, not because the mind had become silent, but because he no longer mistook every thought for who he was. That is the secret many ancient Buddhist teachings point toward. Control of the mind does not come from fighting thoughts. It does not come from suppressing emotions. It does not come from forcing silence. The harder you fight your mind, the stronger it often becomes. Real control begins with observation, awareness, presence, the ability to sit beside the river without jumping into every current. Because right now, in your own life, countless thoughts move through your mind each day. Some tell you that you are not enough. Some tell you that you are behind. Some tell you to fear the future. Some drag you back into the past, and without realizing it, you follow them, just as Aaron once did. But what if those thoughts are not commands? What if they are merely visitors? What if the voice inside your head is not the master of your life, but only a storyteller? And what if, behind all the noise, there exists something deeper, something quieter, something unshaken? The awareness that watches it all. The sky behind every storm, the lake beneath every ripple, the mountain beyond every season. This is why the wisest masters never sought to conquer the mind. They sought to understand it, because understanding dissolves what force cannot. The mind is a wonderful servant, but a terrible master. And freedom begins the moment you recognize the difference. So, the next time fear arrives, notice it. The next time anger appears, observe it. The next time anxiety knocks at your door, watch it carefully. Do not become the storm. Do not become the reflection. Remember the lake. Remember the mountain. Remember the shattered mirror, and ask yourself one simple question. If every thought disappeared for a moment, who would still remain? Perhaps the answer to that question is not something to think about. Perhaps it is something to discover, in the silence that has been waiting for you all along.